Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on the channel, and we are back with another one. Today we are doing a bit of a different type of video. We're going to be doing an NHL tier list. I've seen lots of people do these on the internet. They're quite fun, so yeah, we're going to record one of them today. And this video will be about teams' expectations 5 years in the future. So we're looking at 2030, where we think these teams will be. We've got 5 tiers here as always. Number 1 is the Cup contender. Think like the Panthers, the Oilers, consistently getting to the conference finals and above, and that's the expectation for them. Next, we got the consistent playoff team. Think like the Jets, right now like the Leafs, teams that want to win a few rounds, but you never really have them as a true Cup contender. We got like the bubble playoff teams. Think like the Wild and maybe like where the Senators and the Canadiens are right now, kind of trying to get into those wild card spots. Next, we got the mushy middle tier. Think like the Islanders and the Flames, not really like in the very bottom of the NHL, but no real playoff hopes, and especially if they do sneak into the playoffs, you're not really expecting anything from them. And then we got the basement, the lottery teams, the Sharks, the Blackhawks. But yeah, all of this is 5 years in the future, so we're going to be looking a lot different. And yeah, I think we should get right into it. Starting with the Hurricanes, and I think I'm going to have them in Cup contender tier. If you think about it, like they've made the conference finals so many years in a row, but they are still so young. Aho, Svechnikov will all be still in their primes. Slavin will be getting a bit old. I'm hoping that they can have a much more stable goalie situation by then, but they've got so many great young players coming up. Yeah, I'm definitely confident that they will at least be a consistent playoff team. And yeah, I don't see them getting too much worse in the next 5 years. So Cup contender is definitely the status for them. For the Columbus Blue Jackets, I'm thinking about this one. They almost made the playoffs last year, but it might have been a bit fluky. I'm kind of in between bubble playoff team and consistent. I'm probably going to have them inconsistent playoff team. I don't see them as a true contender because some of their top picks, like Caden Lindstrom, we don't really know what's up with him. I think that Fantilli will be a number 1 center by then, but I'm hoping that they can like replace, like Monahan will be getting old. I still think they need a few more like core pieces to really get to that next level, but by then they should hopefully be like completely set in the rebuild, a safe playoff team, and then hoping to look even better. For the Devils, I'm going Cup contender tier. The one thing that worries me is that Nico Hischier doesn't have too many years left on his contract. He's a really important player on that team, but if you think about it, in 5 years, you'll still have Jack Hughes in his prime and on a super cheap deal still. You'll have Luke Hughes and Simon Nemec. Bratt will still be a good player. And hopefully by then they can kind of build some young depth around these players, because that's kind of what they're struggling with right now. They just haven't had those young players break out into those key roles yet. So yeah, I like the Devils in Cup contender tier though. They're probably maybe closer to a consistent playoff team than Cup contender, but we'll see where they're at. For the New York Rangers, I'm going to put them in the mushy middle tier. They still have lots of good players, but like Panarin will be old, Zibanejad will be old. Adam Fox will still be like their best player, and Shesterkin for a while, but they'll just be like reaching the end of their piece. And I think they really need kind of like a teardown rebuild, considering like how old a lot of these forwards are. So I think they might even be down by lottery team by like 2033. But I'm going to have them in the mushy middle here. I don't really see them as a playoff team, especially since the Metro is going to just continue to get stronger. For the Flyers, I see them as a bubble playoff team by then. By 2030, Michkov will be like hopefully a top 10 player in the NHL. You'll have a lot of your other young players like Martone. York should hopefully be like still your top pair defenseman. They definitely don't have all the core pieces in stock yet, so I'm kind of hoping for their sake that they kind of bottom out next year, and hopefully by 2030 they're back on the rise. They've got all those core pieces in place, and they're ready to hopefully take that next step into being a consistent playoff team, but I don't think they're going to be quite there yet by 2030. The Penguins I'm going to put in the mushy middle, just because we know that they're probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league the next like 3 years. Hopefully by 2030 they should be kind of like the Flyers, on their way up, a little bit behind, but still by this time they should have hopefully one of McKenna and DuPont, and plus they'll have their younger players like McGroarty, Koivunen should hopefully be your top of the lineup players, replacing like Crosby and Malkin. And I don't think they'll be a good team by 2030, but I think they should be at least have good prospects for the future. Hopefully starting to get out of the rebuild that Dubas has them in right now. For the Capitals, I think I'm going to have them in consistent playoff team. I don't really see enough in their core right now to say, yes, they're going to be a definite cup contender, but if you think about it, like Leonard will probably be their best player by then. They'll lose a bunch of players, like Ovechkin will be gone, Carlson will be gone by then, I'm sure. Strome will be getting up there in age a little bit, but they will have those younger players to take those spots because like they have drafted so well. Crystal, Cole Hudson. This should be a pretty good team. I'm almost on cup contender, but I think I like the Devils and the Hurricanes a little bit better. And then, considering I got 4 Metro teams in the top 4 there, I'm going to hold back for a bit. And the Islanders as the last Metro team, I'm probably going to have them in the bubble playoff tier. I think by then, like, they've started their little retool here. They've got Schaefer now. They've got like young players like Richie and Yzerman. They've really done well to restock their pool. And I don't think they'll be a good team the next 2 years at least. So hopefully they should continue to gather more prospects. By 2030, they should be kind of in between. They should be having like Horvat, Barzell, Pellick taking like much reduced roles in the lineup. Have those other players establishing themselves as their key role players for the future. I think by 2032 they should be a fairly good team, but by like 2030, I think they'll still be kind of in a weird in-between phase. Still like a bubble playoff team, and I think still better than the Penguins and Rangers. But yeah, so that's a Metro. Now we're going to the Atlantic. We have the Boston Bruins here. This was one I was thinking about for a long time. I'm really not sure where to put them. I think I'm going to go mushy middle with the Bruins. I don't see them as quite a lottery team, but by then like McAvoy, Lindholm, both Lindholms actually, Hampus and Elias, and especially David Pastrnak will be getting up there in age. They'll still be all good players, hopefully, but the young players around them just don't really inspire too much confidence other than James Hagens. They have been doing their job to kind of restock the prospect pool a little bit because it was like so abysmal for so long. They kind of restocked it a little bit. I think Don Sweeney will be gone, and the next GM that comes in will kind of realize that this team really isn't it, and they'll have to rebuild. By 2030, I don't think they'll be like bottoming out or anything, but I think they'll still be like trying to find new core pieces for the future. So I have them in the mushy middle, I think. For the Sabres, it's so tough with the Sabres because, I mean, they missed the playoffs like 14 years in a row. It's pretty hard to put them in the bubble playoff team because the management right now doesn't really look like it's doing that well towards the future. But at the same time, I really like the young pieces that they have coming up. I think like Benson will be a star by then. You think Hellenius, Merca should hopefully be a top 4 defenseman by then. I'm going to have them in the bubble playoff tier. I don't see enough from this management to think that they'll really take that next step and be a true like difference maker in the playoffs, but I could see them kind of hovering around like 90 to 100 points. If they get a new manager by like next year and he actually shows some direction, I definitely change my mind on the Sabres, but I'm going to have them there for now. For the Red Wings, I'm going to have them as a consistent playoff team. I don't really see them in that cup contender status yet because I still think they're missing a few key pieces like Seider, Edvinsson, Sandy Plika should be a really solid top 3 defense by then. They should have one of Kosa or Augustine will be a good starter goalie. Larkin will be a little bit old, but you still got like Raymond, DeBrincat. It's a well-rounded team. It just doesn't like scream cup contender to me unless they get another big forward. But yeah, this should be a pretty good team by 2030. For the Panthers, I'm not sure where to put them because this is kind of like, I see 2030 kind of at the very end of their contention era. You'll have like Marchand, definitely won't be a very good player by then. Ekblad will be getting a lot older. Barkov and Forsling, they won't be too old, but they'll be kind of reaching the end of their peak. But I don't see them completely bottoming out until like 2032, 33. So I'm going to have them as a bubble playoff team by then. I could somehow see them staying a cup contender until like 2032, but I think at some point they will have to come down. And although Bill Zito's, he's done very well to keep this core around, keep this a good team for hopefully the next 3, 4, or 5 years, it has to come down at some point. So yeah, I'm going to have them under the bubble playoff tier. For the Canadians, no doubt cup contender for me. You've got Demidov will be a star in the league by then. You still got Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky hopefully in their primes. Their defense should be excellent by then. Hudson, Reinbacher, and Dobson. and starting goalie and Fowler. This team has everything right now, so I'm hoping, yeah, they should be a pretty safe cup contender by 2030. For the Senators, I'm going to have them probably in the same tier as the Red Wings there, kind of because they do have all those core pieces in place mostly. You got Sanderson's going to be number one defenseman, Stutzel's a number one center. Allmark will be getting a little bit old, but hopefully Marylainen will take over by then. I see them, I'm honestly a little bit less high on the Senators than I am the Red Wings, but I think they'll both be consistent playoff teams by 2030, and hopefully one of them can take that step into the cup contender tier. For the Lightning, I don't quite have them in the lottery team tier yet, because they, like, Kucherov will be old, Hedman will be old, all of these players will probably be retired, but they'll still have point around. Maybe I am going to put them in the lottery team, actually. Yeah, I just put it up on my phone. Kucherov will be 37, Hagel will be 31, Gensel will be 35, Vasilevsky will be 36, Hedman will be 39, Point will only be 34, but still. Yeah, this team will be pretty much done for by 2030. Yeah, I am going to have them in the lottery tier. You'll still have, like, Point will still be, like, a star player, I'm sure. Like, Hagel will still be a good player. And you'll probably still have, like, the very end of the careers of guys like Kucherov and Vasilevsky. But, honestly, I'm close between lottery team and mushy middle here. I definitely don't think they'll be a playoff team by 2030 unless they do something miraculous. Because they really have no real good core players coming up. I'm going to have them in... I'm going to put them in the mushy middle, actually. I think by 2032, they will be, like, dead last in the NHL. Complete, total teardown rebuild. But I think that will be just the very end of the team. Maybe they sell some players by then. You know what? I've changed my mind. They're back in lottery team. The Toronto Maple Leafs, this was one I was really debating because I think Matthews might be gone after that contract. Nylander will still be here, but that's really like the star player gone. I don't think they'll let it be a terrible team, but I'm going to put them on the bubble playoff tier, I think. I don't see them getting too much better by 2030. Like, they'll still have, like, Nyes. Nyes will be a star player by then. Hopefully Cowan will be a good player for them, but I think Nylander might be the only, like, real player left. Like, Tavares will probably be retired by then. Morgan Riley has just been on the way down. I don't really see him getting back up to number one defenseman status. And, you know, Tanev, McCabe. I'm almost even a bit lower on the Maple Leafs. To me, that Tanev contract really kind of set a timeline for the Leafs to be a contending team, because 6 years on him is too long. By the end of that contract, they'll probably not be a very good team. I'm going to have them in the mushy middle for now, but I could definitely see them dropping even below to a lottery team by 2030. But if they can somehow find some new core players somewhere, if Matthews stays, I can see them being a bubble playoff team. I don't really see too much contention in the Leafs' future, though. But so that is the Eastern Conference there. We only have one lottery team from the Eastern Conference, so maybe the Western Conference will be a bit worse. I'm not sure. But anyways, the Blackhawks here, I'm going to have them in... I'm going to go consistent playoff team, I think. Bedard should hopefully be like an all-star by then. Frondell will be a good player. Their defense looks really strong, in my opinion. You got Rinzel and Levshinov should both be like really quite solid top-pair defensemen by then. Hopefully Kurchinski comes back. Goalies, maybe like they have a few goalie prospects like Camesso. Hopefully they should be able to figure something out. I don't really see them being like a star team by 2030. They'll still need like more pieces, which I'm sure they'll pick up in the next few years, because they're still going to be a pretty bottoming out team. I don't see them as quite the cup contender that a team like the Habs are, but maybe by like 2034, the Hawks should be at like the start of their complete contingent status. The Avalanche, this might be another lottery team for me, honestly. By then, like, Makar will need a huge payday, and he'll be kind of reaching the end of his prime. So will McKinnon. They really don't have any, like, young players. Like, if you look at their U25 players, they have almost nobody. So, yeah, I'm going to go lottery team for the Avalanche. I wouldn't be surprised if, like, McKinnon and Makar still have them in, like, the mushy middle, even a bubble playoff team, because they are so incredible. And as long as they're playing good hockey, you kind of have to build around them. But by 2030, I'm not sure. I think they might be on the way out. I'm going to have them as a lottery team for now. I could definitely see them being higher than that, though, just because you kind of have to build around McKinnon and Makar while they're still there. Next up, Dallas. Dallas is a tough one because their cap situation is really going to be the only thing holding them back. If they had all their players locked up on super cheap contracts, easily a cup contender. If they were able to keep up Robertson, Harley, Heiskanen, Lindell, Johnston, if they had all of those guys locked up at like super cheap deals, still had a comfortable cap situation, yeah, they'd be up there because they would be able to keep kind of having that rotating cast of guys like Duchesne and Granlund to play those big roles. But I'm gonna have them in consistent playoff team just because I know that they will have to cut some players even this next offseason. Like there's been rumors of even letting Jason Robertson go. He's a star player for them, but they've got to pay Harley, they've got to pay Robertson. Yeah, they just have so many players they need to pay big contracts to. So I'm going to have them in consistent playoff team. I think they'll still be a very good team and on the verge of being a cup contender. They just need these contracts they sign in the next few years will really determine their future. For the Wild, I think I'm also going to have consistent playoff team. I think Kaprizov, if he stays around, he'll still be a good player by then. Hopefully they have still strong center depth with like Rossi, Eriksson. Hopefully they should be a good team in that regard. I really like Yurov too, and Boyum, of course. That defense looks really strong for the future. Spurgeon should be like on his way out. Same with Brodin, but you still have David Jiricek, Boyum. Yeah, I think consistent playoff team. I don't see enough to really put them in cup contender status. I would if they had like a number one center. They have good wingers like Boldy and Kaprizov, but we'll see. We'll see with the Wild. We'll see what they do in the next few years because they're kind of down in the bubble playoff team right now. I see them taking at least another step with the development of their players because most of their core pieces are pretty young. But yeah, we'll see what happens with the Wild. The Predators are a really tough one because they'll still be like just on the tail end of like the Saros contract, the Shea contract. Marchessault and Stamkos will be off the team by then. Forsberg will probably be no longer the player he is for sure. So I'm almost down at mushy middle here. The thing with their prospect pool is it's more like quantity over quality. They have a ton of pieces who I think could be good depth players for them, but I don't see anyone like taking the spot of a guy like Forsberg or Yossi or Saros really. So I'm almost on lottery team with them. I'm definitely debating putting them in the lottery. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to do it. I don't really like the Predators' future at all. Lots of quantity, but it's only those really quality prospects that really determine the team, especially for a team like the Predators where you need those core players. You don't have anyone coming up in the system really. Like who's going to be your first liners by 2030? Is it going to be like Evangelista, Surin, Kamel? I guess. Like it doesn't inspire much confidence. So yeah, I'm going to have them as a lottery team, crazy enough. Next up we got the Blues. In the Blues, they got lots of solid young core pieces, like Thomas and Kyrou will still be good players. Buchnevich will probably be a bit old. That defense will definitely need a bit of a retool, but you have Broberg there. I really like Dvorsky and Snuggerud. This is going to be a pretty good team, I think. Maybe not too far above, definitely not cup contender. I'm almost not even a consistent playoff team, so... but I see them getting better than they are right now, so I'm going to go consistent playoff team with them. I'm pretty high on the Blues' future. Holloway, Dvorsky, Snuggerud, at least two of those should become like star forwards, plus some other guys they have in their system. Their defense gives me a little bit of hesitancy. Other than Broberg, a lot of them are kind of getting old. Maybe Mailloux becomes a star or something like that. But yeah, we'll see. The Utah Mammoth, this is an interesting one because we have a lot of teams in this consistent playoff tier. We kind of need some cup contenders in here, and Utah's really standing out to me because think about their future. I mean, like, they will need contracts will definitely come up, but I really like that top six of the future, like Desnoyers, Ganther, Cooley. Cooley should be an absolute star by then. You'll still have Keller, probably won't have Schmaltz anymore. If they can find a few more defenseman prospects in the next few years, they already have like Lamoureux and Simashev coming up as well. Yeah, I really like the Utah Mammoth's future. I'm going to put them in cup contender. They're probably like the lowest out of these cup contenders. It's probably like Montreal first, Carolina, New Jersey, Utah, but I think I have them above most of these teams in the consistent playoff tier. Next up, we have the Winnipeg Jets. Scheifele and Hellebuck are locked up long term. Those are the two most important pieces, to be honest. But like Connor will need a new contract the next season. It's going to be huge. They're in a really tough cap situation with like Morrissey will need a huge payday as well. I think they find a way to keep around a lot of these star players just because they really have created a really good environment in Winnipeg. Like getting Scheifele and Hellebuck to stay long term is impressive. I think they have a good culture there, so I think they'll find a way to keep most of their like star players, but they're going to be making a lot of money. So I'm going to have them in the bubble playoff tier. They'll probably be continuing to fall off. I don't really see them getting into consistent or cup contender by then. I don't see them getting any better for sure. I could see them getting worse. But yeah, I don't mind the Jets' future because I do have some confidence that they will be able to keep around all their star players. But yeah, next up we have the Anaheim Ducks. Like Seneca, McQueen, Gauthier, that Carlson will be like hopefully a Selke contender. That forward core is so good. They have lots of young defenseman prospects. A lot of them are kind of looking like they need to take that next step. Like Zellweger, Mintyukov need to take that next step. You have Lacombe. But yeah, you have a really solid starting goalie too. I'm going to put the Ducks in cup contender here. They shouldn't have too much competition in the Pacific Division, like the Sharks really being their only competition by 2030. But yeah, I'm a fan of that Ducks future. Next up, we got the Flames, and I almost want to put them in mushy middle like automatically because that's just where they always are. I don't mind their future. I like Perek and Wolf should be star players. But other than that, they haven't really done too well to build too much. But these last few drafts I've really liked from them. So I'm going to have them maybe in the bubble playoff tier. I don't see them being like a consistent playoff team by 2030. Hopefully we can like get a few star players by then. Hopefully get some high picks because I must remind you guys, the Flames have never picked higher than 4th overall. Crazy that they still haven't, but hopefully by then we get a top 3 pick. We get some high quality forwards, centers especially. But yeah, I see us as a pretty good team by 2030. Maybe not a consistent playoff team though. I think we'll still be kind of fighting. But, you know, when you have Wolf, you have Perek, I think these guys will be stars. Just need to get a few more pieces around them, and we should be good. The Oilers, they'll definitely be on the way down by then. Draisaitl, McDavid will be making like $30 million combined. Around them, I mean, like, a few of the bad contracts will be up, like Nurse. They have no future in goalie. Their defenseman's about to get very expensive. Like, Wallman needs a new deal. Ekholm. Yeah, I'm going to have them... I'm going to put him in the mushy middle because I know that McDavid will probably re-sign there. Draisaitl sign long-term. And having even one of those players immediately takes you out of lottery contention, I think. But I don't see them being a very good team by 2030. We'll see how well they can uphold their future, though. Definitely get a few goalie prospects, a few defenseman prospects. The LA Kings. That's an interesting one. I don't like their future. I don't like what they did for their future this offseason because they signed, like, Ceci will be just getting off his contract by 2030. That's brutal. But, like, I think Byfield will be a star player by then. A few of their other guys will be kind of reaching the end, though. Like, Fiala will be pretty old. Doughty will be gone. Clark will be a number 1 defender. But I don't really love the Kings' future here. I'm going to put them in the mushy middle. The Sharks, Celebrini should be 24, entering his prime, winning Selkies, winning Hart trophies. Misa will be a good player by then. Eklund, they already have such a great team there. I assume they'll get a good defenseman in the next few years. This is an easy cup contender. Definitely like in the top end of the cup contender tier as well. The Seattle Kraken next. I almost just want to go mushy middle by default because they seem set on creating a team destined for the mushy middle. But I do really like their forward prospects. I think they'll be at least an okay team by then, just because they'll have those older players aging out, which is good for them because they can have those younger players finally take those spots. So yeah, I'm going to have them in the bubble playoff team. Not too much that inspires like a really good future for the Kraken, but I think they should be at least out at like the 70 to 80 point tier. Vancouver, Quinn Hughes will be either making like $17 million or be gone. So that is definitely a huge loss. We'll see. Pettersson definitely kind of hinges on them being like here and them being like here. So we'll see what happens with Elias Pettersson, but I'm definitely thinking like mushy middle for them. That goaltending tandem is super expensive, which I think will kind of be their downfall eventually, because like Besser, DeBrusk, these guys will be reaching the end of their peak years. Pettersson's a weird one. They have a few young players coming up like Lekaramaki, but yeah, this team doesn't inspire too much confidence. I don't see too much more in the mushy middle for them. And finally, the Vegas Golden Knights. I mean, I almost just feel like putting them in at least bubble playoff team just by default, because I know that they'll do something crazy to get another star player. But, this is a really tough one. I think Marner, Eichel, they should be there long term. They should be, or they'll be on LTIR, so you can use that cap space anyways. So I think you have to put them in at least the mushy middle to start, because they will have still a ton of great players, because they always find a way. But by then, like, they'll need a new starting goalie. Hill will be pretty old. Like, Theodore will be old. That defense especially scares me, because they really don't have any young defenders there. So yeah, I'm going to keep them in the mushy middle here. Even though I still think they'll have like Eichel and Marner, keeping them out of the very basement of the NHL. Yeah, I just don't see too much great things in their future. Eventually, it's going to catch up to them. They can't just keep trading away futures forever. Eventually, they'll have to miss the playoffs. So, yeah, I'm going to have them in the mushy middle here. So that is my tier list for 2030. I just counted we have 14 teams in the consistent playoff team and the cup contender. So you'll have 2 of these 7 teams fighting for those last few playoff spots. These teams in the middle and these lottery teams, I think that's pretty fair and balanced. I definitely could see, it definitely depends. A lot could happen in those years. Like, I don't know, some team could win the lottery like the Islanders did and get McKenna and become, I don't know, go from mushy middle to a consistent playoff team maybe. A lot of things can happen in 5 years. I'm excited to go back in 2030 and look at this and see how wrong I am. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with this list. Let me know down in the comments who should be higher, who should be lower. Where do you think your favorite team fits in on this tier list? And let me know down in the comments if you want more of this type of content. I quite enjoy making these tier lists just on my own time, but I've seen lots of people recording them lately as well. So yeah, let me know down in the comments if you like content like this. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you all in the next one.